And because they're in the elite row there, or the elite column, excuse me, whenever a unit is broken down into from a squad down into teams, either through like uh, an order called deploy or light wounds or something like that, they will actually come back as an elite team. So that in different scenarios will obviously change depending on the type of setup. If you have if you don't have a copy of Combat Commander, if you have not purchased it yet, in the playbook, it kind of gives you for the historical setups that all of these are part of. It has a standard setup procedure that you walk through. Most of that is taken care of for you here in the Vassal module, and we actually get down to the point where you are deploying your forces. So you're, step 3.7 or 8, something like that. And at this point, per the scenario rules, the Axis player, being Arnold here, he gets to set up all of his units within the 9 hexes deep from his side, his edge is the south edge of the map there, and he can come up 9 hexes from row 10 all the way up to row 1, looks like. So he can deploy anywhere in those, and then he'll do all his setup first, and then I will do my setup along the top edge of the map. So Arnold, why don't you take a minute? Maybe actually, before we do that, let me go through some of the other pieces here, and then we'll do the setup. Moving across the top, again from left to right, you see the year is indicated, 1944. So this is well into the American invasion part of Europe. And see, the time track is probably the most critical part of any combat commander scenario. You can see right now we're set on turn number 1, so it's a variable turn from 0 to 12. We're on turn number 1, and the sudden death is set to turn number 7. So the time triggers that come up are based off of the cards. Either you will get a time trigger on a card, or when you run through a deck, either yours or your opponent's deck, that will cause a time trigger, and then the next step in the time will advance. So it's completely, I've had games very, very slow where you never get a time trigger and it just goes completely at the pace of going through your deck. I've had some where time triggers come up, every 4th or 5th card, so you really never know how long a standard combat commander game will be. It's kind of one of the joys and the agonies of the game. You can see there's a stack per the scenario rules with Sergeant White. He has those are my reinforcements that will come in on time track 3, and so anytime you have reinforcements in a scenario, you usually see them already preset up there. And then all the way to the right, you see the current VP schedule. The Axis, or since they're defending, normally they have points already in their favor. So my job as the Americans is to try to get that at least to 1 point on my side before the sudden death. Down the right side, you see in this particular module, you have buttons that will automatically pull cards from your deck for you. I'll go through those buttons here on the top in just a second, but you can see that there's preset little tools to actually draw either a die roll card, an event card, or a random hex card there for you. And depending on whether you're Axis or Allied, you click the appropriate button. The way they've got it set up is, since I am going to play the Americans, I would not be able to push the Axis button, so I could keep pushing that, and I realize, oh, no cards are being pulled because I'm pushing the wrong button, dummy. To the right of it, you see that the Axis are currently holding the initiative card, and they can click that back and forth. I'll click on it now, for example, and it goes over to Arnold's side, and then click it back to me. So whenever you want to have your opponent redo a die roll, you just hand them the initiative card. There is some automation built into this. It used to be quite a bit more automated. It used to have events that triggered a lot of things. We have sound effects. We have automatic scoring updates, things like that. In this particular version of the module, a lot of that's been stripped down. So, you still have to kind of do the math on your own. When we get into some of the combat, you'll see how that works. But it is all card driven. I mean, if you've had a chance to go through the Combat Commander rules at all, you can see that it's a very straightforward system. It's a very clean system as far as you're performing orders on your turn, and then the actions on a card you can perform at any time. I'll pull some examples here in a minute, and it's like I said, very straightforward.
Hey, excuse me, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, and maybe I'm the idiot here, but is there something we should be seeing?
Yes, you should see a map. So if you go up and right-click on my name and say synchronize, it should pull up the map and everything for you.